Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you gotta get spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. The bloodbath continues. I've never seen anything like this, and I hope to never see anything like this again. It's just insane. Let's go to the chart. So we've got we had a little bit of a recovery yesterday, and well, the kind of more this. And then the last little bit of trading in the E-mini, they just careened down. And now, overnight, another leg lower. I just got a short signal, actually, again. So it looks like they might be selling it. Now, strangely enough, in the 10-year, when you got that late afternoon dip in the E-mini, the treasuries did not push up. But then once the European session started, we pushed up another huge leg. Once again, we're now into the 134.5 range in the 10-year treasury. ZB, almost 170, which is absolutely crazy and insane. And we are now getting to levels at which interesting things start to happen with treasury yields, because the yield is so low. We're seeing quite a bit of strange order flow coming in here just as I'm talking. I did get a short signal in the E-mini, but it's already done and gone, so let's not worry too much about it. What a crazy market. Jay Constant says, strong bounce in Bitcoin. Holland has 2 cases of corona. How dangerous is the virus for healthy people? So if you are healthy, the chances of you dying from coronavirus are almost zero. I mean, like, the percentage rate is something like 0.02 or something like that. If you are over 80, it moves up. I think that the overall fatality rate for it is 2%. Be very careful with the information that you're seeing out there, okay? There are people. I don't know how else to put this. So I'm only going to put it in kind of the political framework that I see it in. I think that there's probably better language to use here, but there are people that just appear to be intentionally misrepresenting what this disease can do. And there are a lot of comparisons that I'm seeing in news media that is simply not accurate. You know, like they'll compare it to the flu, and the numbers that they're comparing to the flu are just not comparable. So it's not like the end of the world. But the issue that you have is the way that business reacts and so forth, right?
Jay Constant says, I must confess I am scared. I have a son. Yes, a lot of fear-mongering on social media.
Wow. No, I think that only one, like, little kids are not catching it. And none of them have died. So I don't think that young people are susceptible. I mean, this is not to say that there's not things about this virus that makes it particularly unique, okay? Like, for one thing, it's extremely contagious. The virus can live on surfaces longer than a normal virus could. If you do get it, and you do get symptoms which require you to go to a doctor and get you tested, the chances that you need like hospitalization is much higher. So there's things like that, but it's we're not all going to die, okay? But there are aggregate effects on the economy, right? Like you have to close down all the schools. In Japan, they've closed down all of the schools. Um, I can tell you like one thing that is been affected by this, because basically they're saying like no mass gatherings of people. Like they're canceling all these events. So Japan, they might have to cancel the Olympics. In esports, all of these esports events in Europe and Asia have been canceled. So the esports arena was probably overvalued anyways, and that business is going to get absolutely decimated. Um, there's things like that. There's going to be effects on the supply chain. So because all of the factories in China were shut down, there's going to be people in the United States waiting on parts, and how long can they wait for them? And it might take a long time for everything to get ramped back up because of the supply chain disruption. It just got along. Wouldn't trust that one. Um, a what else? What else do we know? I mean, here's the thing. So I'm seeing some predictions that it could knock off a point or two of GDP. So that could put us close to negative growth or just even. I'm still skeptical of that we will get an actual recession that is 2 quarters of negative growth. It's possible though. If we're going to get a recession or a straight up what we would call a bear market, a recession has to do with GDP. A bear market has to do with how far the markets have come down. Keep in mind that 3,000, which is close to where we are, we're at 2950, right? 2930 right now. Yep. See, as soon as they gave a long, it just fell apart. That's 20% is bear market territory, and we're only like 10%. So it could go double this potentially, but there's like no comparison, man. The market goes down, big numbers for 6 days in a row. That's what looks like is going to happen. We might get along at some point, but I'm very concerned that today is going to be another down day. And I've never seen that. And not only that, but the order flow that we are seeing right here in this market is not healthy. This is like somebody needs to change rules. Frankly, are you getting 500 max placed on the DOM in the 10-year treasury? We're open. They're not even stacking 500 on the DOM in the 10-year treasury. Sometimes it goes up there. You see here at 07, they might buy. Okay, well, so at 06 half, they might sell everything there at 06 half, right? And I'm seeing gaps. Like they'll sell it and nobody will offer or bid. Oh, you're right. I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. Okay, wait. Wait. You're right. You're right. I think it's still pretty low though. Okay. Symbol Z. Do we have? Nope. I have to go and okay. I have to do a bunch of crazy stuff over here. Let's come over and look at my beautiful face first. It's still low, he says. Oh man, I have to update instruments from the CBOT download. There we go. And then let's see if that. Now I get it to show up. June 2020. putting like 500 up still. Well, in the E-mini, you don't flip over in the E-mini yet, right? It's just insane. ZB. ZF. There's another one. So we're in M. And then let's come over into Jigsaw, database management. Oh, it doesn't see them rolling over today? Well. So are we much different though? No. Oh, these ones already rolled over. It's not much different. I don't know. Get everything. Oh, I didn't get everything. Hold on. Oh, these ones I think were probably okay. The end. B. Hate that. Okay. Okay. So E-minis are still there. M, 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 M. M, 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 M. Okay. I think we're good. It's definitely still low. Yeah, they're putting like 500 up. It's like, it's ridiculous. It's crazy, but I'm not sure how they would fix it, as I wouldn't risk my firm queuing every price either. Yeah. There's no going back, but when the banks were stuffed full of prop decks, the trading floors and thousands of traders versus 10 big high-frequency trading firms of algo firms all doing the same thing at once, there weren't the vacuums, and people stepped in. Thank you! Catwoman says this on Twitter. LPs be scared. Wait, what are LPs?
Uzi Knesset says LPs be scared.
But the market makers are scared. Okay, so you're getting some interesting clusters of volume here in the 10-year.
Uzi Knesset says liquidity providers, market makers.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the market makers are scared. They turned the robots off. That's straight up. That's it. They turned the robots off. They turned the robots off, and until they turn them back
Constant
on.
Says Turkey opened his borders for refugees.
I should probably. I think that this one right here. The circle tuner has to be changed. No. Oh, it's this one. Jigsaw's circle tuner thing's not working correctly. You know what? We should just get rid of these other Vista charts. I don't even use those.
Uzi Knesset says, and it's like any hiccup in the indexes just triggers an absolute cascade down. It's crazy.
Yeah. It really is. Like, the whole thing is just lunacy. I don't know any other way to put it. Interval width. Circle tuner. Okay, well, we'll leave it there because they're really not trading that much enough volume to be drawing all those circles. Yeah, well, so watch the DOM when you hear the bell. When we get into a spot where there's a potential turning point, you will see crazy volume just back.
Says I've been through market calamity before, but never with order flow tools. Lol. The order flow tools just make it scarier. Lol.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like I've been saying, like the thing is it's not like we haven't seen this action before. In fact, I would say I've seen worse. So there was the 2018 liquidity drop / volatility spike that we had out of nowhere, if you recall. There was times during the trade war that it got this crazy. There was times during Euro crisis. Well, I guess I can't say I've seen back in Euro crisis, but I'm sure that it was like that. And we've had flash crashes. There was right there. So there's the long. You see the E-mini just going back and forth, really wild. As soon as it touches it, there's other stops going off, and because there's enough big guys playing
Jay
it.
Constance says Bitcoin song, hardcore crypto, equity new song from a friend of me.
I think it's funny. You come in and you say, "Oh, Bitcoin's bouncing." Like,
calamity is a better way to put it. Lol.
I have to say, for Bitcoin, I believe that what you're seeing in Bitcoin is the final proof that.
Gary Rich says good morning.
Hey Gary, how's it going? Final proof that everything I've been saying about Bitcoin is correct. Okay, here's the Bitcoin chart. They've fallen now below 8,500, so 15% drop.
Show me the volume future says by any dips below VPOC on ZN, as soon as S-Stumps notes jump 3 levels up.
The Bitcoin has not been a flight to safety. It has not. Nobody wants to own risk assets. The idea that it is some sort of a safe haven like gold was ridiculous. And the one time that you would want to have a hedge of this nature.
Gary Rich says I'm so exhausted from making money.
Gary, I lost money, man. I'm so well, yesterday I made money on Sim, but I got piggy. That's what happened. I was a hog. Anyways, I would like to touch the E-mini. I might take a trade here at some point, but at the moment, the kind of action that I'm seeing suggests to me that I cannot take my trade. We could try the treasuries. I do see a little bit that might suggest to me that we could hold this area. If you see this graph right here, it's just noise, man. It's just noise, man. I don't know. But I think you're right. I think that so people are like, what can we do about it? Okay, there's a couple of things that we can do about it.
Uzi Knesset says I'd say in these conditions, the Vista chart is almost completely useless. Lol.
Yeah. So here's what you do about it. Get rid of the Volcker rule. Seriously. They need the banks to have the prop desks. The banks, there's 2 reasons why. Number 1, because then the banks don't have the experienced proprietary traders on their teams and they become clueless. They don't see things coming. They don't have the experience that they need to make the decisions that they do or that they, to make the decisions that need to be made in this kind of action. And 2, you need people to provide the liquidity, and you need somebody that's a human there to step in when things are crazy or to sell it if it really needs to continue. But right now, there's no liquidity in the market. There's no liquidity in the market because there's no humans doing it. You gave it all to robots.
Says hello. No interest says I was told before Dodd-Frank had quite a bit more liquidity. Show me the volume future says preach. Gary
Get
Rich
rid of
says
the Volcker
sellers
rule.
Haven't capitulated yet. Watch out for the float up fake out.
Are you listening, Congress? The Volcker rule is toxic to these markets. You got to get rid of it, or this is going to continue. And honestly, this is a straight up flash crash, right? Which means we can continue to just move down day after day after day because nobody's going to turn the robots back on.
Air Cages says bear market confirmed. Worst drop since 2008. Recession is here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still cautious of saying the word recession, but I think that a 20% decline in the indexes, which would be a bear market, is a very real possibility. Okay. Number two, if you are a liquidity provider, which is to say that you are providing market
Air
liquidity,
Cages says, are you guys shorting this?
you're making a certain amount of money per day or trading a certain amount of volume per day, and it's all automated. It's not done clicked in by a person.
Show me the volume future says never go full R word.
You should not be able to pull it. You should only be able to pull it during economic news. This thing's right here. Take it on the nose. Huh? You come around, you steal the money from, well, I don't want to say steal the money, but you're chasing everybody else out of the market. Okay. They chase everybody else out of the market. And then when you need them, they're gone. I shouldn't be allowed to pull it.
Gary Rich says we take out the Jan 19 lows, deck 18 lows. If we get lucky, Jan 18 lows get hit. I'm going back the truck up.
So by the way, if we get down to 2,700, that is the
Air Cages says Corona is spreading in Europe. Everybody is panicking. It's getting real.
Yeah. Next thing, I think that they need to bring the circuit breaker limits in. I think that a circuit breaker should have been hit already. And the decline that we have to go down to 2,700 to hit it. I think that we should have hit a circuit breaker already. So I say move the circuit breakers. It should be yeah, some of these moves are just crazy. And then man. Oh yeah, so here's another thing that you can do. This is the controversial one. A trader ID should be attached to every order. Two trader IDs should be attached to every order.
Gary Rich says what circuit breakers are already in.
Well, so to get to if we get to 2,700, then we hit a circuit breaker. Anyways, so I think that when I get market orders like these down in here, oh, you can't see those. These my tapes. When I see market orders come in and fills come in, I should be able to see two trader IDs for both sides of that trade. I should be able to see who's doing what. If I'm trading against Goldman Sachs, I should know. And that would even the playing field between retail traders and
Air Cages says trader IDs. Seth, you sound like communist China.
Well, it wouldn't have to be a person's name. It would just have to be a number. So it'd still be anonymous. But if I'm trading against somebody with a really big position, it should tell me. Well, if I was on the floor, you would know. If we were on the floor, you would know who the big traders are, and you would know if you're trading with or against the big traders, and that would put even the game back out between the retail traders and the big guys.
Commie trader identifications.
And that would allow more retail traders to be successful, and that would provide a lot more liquidity to market because it would make the game more fair. It would make the game like it was when we had open outcry. It was transparent. You could see who was doing what. In this market, you can't see that. Hey, if somebody puts an order out there, like a big 5K order, and they cancel it, I should know who it is.
Bot says, man, you're on a rant today.
I think I should know who it is. I think it's a total racket that they intentionally hide that information from you. It's kind of not fair. But
Gary Rich says Seth is pissed off. He know nothing how liquidity and the players work.
I'm just saying if you did that, there would be more liquidity.
Air Cages says they would find ways around that, creating hundreds of trader IDs.
Well, maybe. I mean, hopefully you would have it set up in a way that, you can't just create a new trader ID if you're at a forum. But maybe you're right. But you're right in that back in the day.
Show me the volume future says if opening print in ZN breaks, watch this move up.
Mm. In back in the day, one of the things that they would do is that the big guys would hire a little guy and say, "Hey, I need you to buy this much today." And you would see this guy, he's like brand new and he's still learning, and all of a sudden
Gary
he's
Rich
trading
says
like
it's a
100
casino,
contracts
love
and
it
you're
or
like,
hate
"What?"
it, but respect it.
I think that the larger players were able to set the rules up for far too much in their favor. And so anybody that's I'm not saying that you can't be successful as a retail trader, but there's not a lot of successful retail traders out there, is there? So though they can't provide the liquidity, the robots aren't providing the
says they're being
liquidity.
sneaky. Over in ZB, you got 150 at a level, but 800 hits it? They're just hiding it.
I am seeing a little bit of I am seeing a little bit more volume hitting the treasury than we should. I do see that move down in the E-mini was too far. Man, I guess I can take it off there.
Show me the volume futures says I agree. Air Cages says so. Seth, serious question. What's going on with the markets and what happens next? Harlequin says 1.3 million volume during the overnight. Man, this is crazy. I remember some days where the whole daily volume in the E-mini was just 1 million to 1.2 million.
Okay,
Show
so
me the
there was
volume
a
future
long
says
swap.
something sneaky going on in treasuries.
I'm not sure. Well, so I ruined my circles. Let's turn them down so we get some.
Gary Rich says it's okay, Seth, I will hold your hand and calm you down.
Anyways, that's like what, 3 or 4 things that you could do to fix the problem. But as it is right now, it's probably going to continue to be in flash crash conditions. I don't know if anybody can step in and stop this until we're at like 20%.
Air Cages says, Seth, are you going to short this market down to zero with me?
Well, I tried shorting it just there, and it came back a little bit harder than I was comfortable with. I honestly, I cannot trade this with real money.
Showing on a completed trade or a bid offer won't help you in real time. You might as well stare at the lint in your belly button.
Sure it does. If I know that the largest player in the market is Trader X, and I see Trader X buying, I'm going to be careful about selling it. Right? If I go into a trade and I buy it and I see that the other side of that order was Trader X, I might decide that I don't want to hold that. I'm telling you, when it was a open outcry, you could see that stuff. You can
look at icebergs to identify firms.
You could see this information. If I was able to calculate everybody's positions, I would actually have a really good idea of, you know, what is going to happen. It would actually put a huge how do I put this? It would put the large players at a huge disadvantage because so many people, everybody would know what they're doing. See, now that I dumped it, they're just careening down.
Harlequin says no problem, guys. I will take your position at zero. Should be a pretty decent risk reward. You know what? I'm feeling confident. Gonna try long when the E-mini is at 100.
Because where I'm coming from is like, okay, like
Air Cages says sounds like cheating. Takes all the fun out of losing money.
Not cheating. I'm just saying, like, look, and I mean, Gary, I talked about, well, Gary Norden and I have done a little bit back and forth on this on Twitter, and I think that he agrees with me. When it was open outcry, you could see who you were trading against, and the market was more transparent. And that's the word that we're going to use, is more transparent. I believe that it would give some edge to retail traders. And so right now, it's like maybe 1 to 5% of retail traders are successful. Maybe we can get that number with that sort of a change. Maybe we can get that number up to like 10% or 20% or 30%. But more importantly, you will have more retail traders that are actually swinging real size. Because how many of you know somebody that's trading more than like a 10 lot on the 10-year? I think that we've seen one or two people come in and tell us that they're trading larger than a 10 lot. Okay. So the amount of liquidity that we're actually providing is trivial. So if we were able to see the other sides of the orders, that would probably give retail traders a significant edge that they don't have right now. There would be a lot of technology that would come out because of that, because you would be able to calculate people's positions and estimate where their stops are. Okay. That would be a big, big deal. It would very much change the way that but you would get more liquidity because you'd have more successful retail traders. So that and the Volcker rule and bring in the boom, 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 boom. Bring in the circuit breakers. I think these are all things that and make rules that determine when they can't turn the robots off. I think those are just some ideas. I wouldn't call it a rant. I mean, these are things that I would really like to see, but I'm kind of I should be putting it more out there that, like, you know, this is the problem, here's some solutions, right?
Air Cages says a jigsaw plugin that would show trader IDs.
I think that if you could see IDs, here's what would happen is I would be able to have a little box down here that would say largest positions, and it would have IDs, and it would show you how many contracts and whether they're long or short all of those players are. And I could even say what that guy's average price is, so that I would know, okay, at this point, the largest player in the market is now underwater or whatever it is, you know? It would be huge. I mean, I don't know what they aggregate, because in Open Outcry, you could see them, but they didn't have the technology to calculate people's positions. So I don't know completely how the market would work, but I know that it would put a big player at a huge disadvantage. Well, not a disadvantage, but it would take away a lot of the edge that a large player has. Yeah. If you read my notes in Discord, you could have made a lot on the 10-year. Well, I mean, I read those, Gary, but I just can't trade the 10-year right now. I mean, I can't trade the evening right now. It's going down, but it's too whippy to really, for someone with my amount of risk to hold. I appreciate your help, though. The question remains, though, how far can it go? We're at like negative 10%. Can they go to negative 20%? If it's negative 20%, hey, maybe selling off this crazy every day is actually reasonable. I don't know. And the thing that's so concerning about it is that I don't think that anybody is actually even thinking of it from that perspective. I think that they think, oh, more coronavirus, click sell. And they're just doing it off of instinct, you know? Okay. Let's turn that back on.
Air Cages says technical analysis predicted this.
Yeah. Nah, you're just trolling me.
Bot says it's down greater than 15% off last week's new all-time high.
Is it now 15%? What would be negative 20%? I can only imagine what the pension month-end index rebalancing managers are thinking of this morning. Patrick Rooney retweeting Guy Labas.
Gary Rich says at Airshish we don't want Seth Durant in technical analysis.
You know, it's
Air Cages
funny.
says it's going to be negative 20% in a few hours.
When some people will say, oh, what I'm doing is technical analysis. And then when I go through and I look at it and I can identify where they're factoring volume into it. So we could maybe rephrase the whole technical analysis
Gary
thing.
Rich says 20% down would be January 18th lows.
Because I think that a lot of people have different definitions of technical analysis, right? I believe that any analysis of short-term price movement is unlikely to have much edge without volume. If it doesn't factor in volume in some way, it's unlikely to have a long-term edge.
Masiak says 3,000 level has broken. Nice.
Yeah, it's super crazy, Macy. Well, they're putting thousands up in the treasuries now. They've thickened up a little bit. Hasn't moved yet.
Air Cages says Seth is the king of technical analysis. Bots says 20% of 3,397.50 equals 1,019.25 points to 2,378.25.
Okay. Well, we're not getting down there today. They could get to 2,700 though and hit the circuit breaker. I mean, like, who wants to buy this into the weekend? I mean, really? You can do it if you want. Gary would be crazy enough to do that, but it sounds like Gary is still short.
Shred in the NAR says circuit breaker equals what percent?
Sorry, let me
Air
find
Cages
it.
says Trump must be pissed.
7% price limit. 7% at 27.70.
Gary Rich says calculate 20% from the highs. Air Cages says is this a healthy correction?
You know what? If it hadn't happened the way that it had, I would say that 10% pullback would be a healthy thing, yeah.
Bots says 7% off what number? Globix open? Globix high?
Futures Trader 71 posted the picture. So the reference price is 29,750. 5%. That's where it's coming from. I think that there's a spot on the CME website where they give it to you. So that is straight up what the CME is saying. That is straight up what the CME is saying is the circuit breaker. Okay. I don't know if we're going to hit it. 2,700 is pretty far away. That would be a 200-point drop, which would be, and it would be the biggest drop that we've seen all week. And I have to say, a lot of the stuff that I saw yesterday was like peak panic type of activity. But that's where I get all concerned is I'm like, okay, I'm seeing peak panic. And yet when I watch this and when I look at how far it goes and everything, I see plenty of reasons why it could keep going. Okay, somebody actually decided
says they should close the markets until they sort this corona shit out.
No. They don't need to close the market. I mean, if they're being unreasonable, then at some point they're going to overextend and going to have to rebalance. The question is, in a flash crash, what does it take to get the liquidity to bottom out? You know? And when it's in a good market and you get a flash crash like we've had in the past, then, you know, people step up. But if we're going into a recession, there's nothing to stop this.
Gary Rich says from the all-time highs 10% as a correction, 20% calculate.
He did. Right. 20% of 33,997.50, which was the all-time high, would be 23.78. There's another low. Like it's the top of the hour and they're acting like
Air
total
Cages says
insane.
guys like Nav are making millions during this drop. Bots says flash crashes typically only happen when you're listening to some guy talk while he's chewing on a muffin. Air Cages says lol. Gary Rich says lol bots. Gary Rich says 600 boys on YM. Uzi Knesset says steady offer at 69.18 to 1,964, good year lol. Gary Rich says I'm happy like a pig in shit.
Yeah, sorry. I muted myself. I was just saying I can't take like a 5-point swing back, lose 5-point swing on my position. So I have to take the thing, and I think it just happened to be a coincidence in that particular case that after I got out that they just went crazy down. I saw there's a story here that China is releasing more loans for small businesses. And if it really got bad, then we would have to go much further for this to happen. But another option is that they could just straight up give people money, or the exchange could create incentives, right? For a while, there was the New York Stock Exchange would create an incentive for people to trade. Okay. So that one is giving me a long, but it's not correct. My thing is beeping at me, but it's not the moving average is not in the right spot. Oh, I missed it. Maybe they'll come back for me. Maybe. What was the point of control of that one? 5. Well, I can't sell it there. Just put that there. Wait. No, it's not. The beep is something that we wrote yesterday to alert us of a condition close to what Ace Trades has been alerting us of. Ace has been disposed because he's been working with some people. So, which is totally great, and I'm happy for him. But so he gave me the information so that I can call it out for you guys still. It's $8. Yep. That one though shouldn't have. I don't think it should have beeped for me because the fast moving average wasn't actually moving up. Plus, the trend is down, so you don't necessarily want to take longs off of it either. That's not good.
Air Cages says Ace gave you his algo?
Yes. It's super complicated. You'll never figure out what it is. So don't even bother trying. Maybe it is a long. Maybe. I'm not to where I'm like.
Air Cages says should have taken the long. Gary Rich says at Ace, are you with the place I'm with? Ace Trades says actually I gave it to you to help you and your family, not so it would be published to the world like Mrs. Fields' cookies recipe.
Yeah, I'm not telling them what it is. But we do have a beep. Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah. I made the beep because I get so distracted and I'm afraid that I miss it. And I already here, I think that I was like surprised by it there, right? So, anyways, but I'm just looking at it. I think that I need to change something in my program because it wasn't really. I don't think that one really qualified. It did price did cross the moving average, but I don't think that we had the other conditions to really take it. Not to mention that we're you're really against trend there with it. Look at that huge order in CB.
Air Cages says so was the secret what you expected or something completely different?
So I thought that it probably had something to do with a crossover of some sort. So in that respect, I guess it was. But in terms of why it works, it was not what I expected. And the more that I think about it, I'm just like, it's so simple. It's like almost surprising that it works, and yet it's also like it kind of has to work. So really what we're doing is we're just looking for a place where the price has outpaced the volume, if that makes sense. So you get something where, there was a lot of trade down in here, and then price moved up really fast for whatever reason, and prices moved past the point at which some market participants see trend change. And so Korean's down. Let's see if we can go back to that point and try and get a short. No, I guess not. Too slow. Okay, so there's your short. No. Okay, that one. So sometimes I'll take a trade there, and I'll already have another order placed on the DOM in the spot, and so it won't let me put my stop there. That's why it beeps. Fed's bullish cuts a possibility of virus intensifies, but not the base case. What? Okay, well, also I think in this market we should expect it should stop out quite a bit. So we're just practicing it. So I'm not terribly concerned about how well it's actually doing. Oh man, come on. That's so crazy. Of course. Of
Air
course.
Cages says, did you backtest the algo?
I'm not yet. Shit. Like I want to be in it. Where do you take it from? Right? So I haven't been able to do a full proper backtest on it, but part
Gary
of that
Rich
is
says, fade every
because
attempt of a long, get short, it's gonna be great. MTGA.
this is definitely something that you don't necessarily want to take it every time that we hear a beep, right? Like we have to use our discretion to understand which signals are worth taking and which ones aren't. And so backtesting might not be uh, as useful to us until I've been able to quantify
Air
some
Cages
of those
says, so it's a
filters
winning
better.
algo. You should fund your account with like 20K and go ham.
No. You know what? We had some success with it when Ace was giving it to us. I think that what we should do is just watch it and practice for a bit and prove that we can trade well with it. They know that I'm in it. They're like, well, we can't go down yet. We got to stop Seth out first. Oh, there he's trying to do it. Oh, he didn't quite get it. Maybe he'll come in again. Nope, maybe. Okay. Man.
Ace Trade says it's okay. You never took the trades when I called them out anyway. Lol.
Yeah, there was a lot of times where I didn't take them, didn't I? Ah.
Uzi Knesset says lol.
So see, that one worked, but it stopped us out first because the ATR is just too high for the stop that I'm using. And then I ended up catching it a lot lower, but then even then it did work out. Wow, the sweeps. Huh.
Air Cages says, send the algo to me, Ace. I'll take every trade like a good boy. I promise.
I've already just from watching it on a chart, I can tell you that if you take literally every time,
Cages, sure. Venmo me $1,000.
With the conditions that I have from the beep, if you take it literally every time that it beeps, you would probably lose money in aggregate. Now, maybe if you limit it to certain times of day, that would certainly make a difference. Because I'm going to bet that it doesn't work very well after the London close, for instance. Yeah, it's coming back a bit on me again.
Air Cages says, Ace, I'll DM you on Discord.
Yeah, so Ace, if you're there, what you should really idle in Discord.
Uzi Knesset says, y'all funny lol.
So because I know that you got other distractions, so you can't necessarily like listen to what we're saying and everything. But you can like take screenshots of your screen and post them in the Discord channel, and that would be a much easier way to keep in touch with everybody. Man. So I want to see 29, 28,
Gary Rich
92,
says, let's see, does the 10 years get to 1.15% yield today? What does Gary know?
You think that they get to 1.15? Hey, did you see that comment in, where was it? It was in the lobby, I think. Did you see that guy where he was saying, oh yeah, it was Maltz Dude. He says, I'm heavily long a fertilizer company expecting a jump up in usage post last winter's heavy rains, down like 27% in days. Oddly enough, though, the stock is trading at a significant percentage below where it was trading when solvency was at risk. Its bond now trades at a premium of 5%, with next call date being June. At this valuation, after-tax interest expense saved from refinancing is like 10% of their market cap annually. So you're getting to a point now where the yield in the treasuries can make a significant impact on some companies. Like, can you imagine the Federal Reserve comes out and does an emergency?
Air Cages says, so if you take every trade and lose money, it's still a discretionary strategy? You still have to pick the winners yourself.
Well, no, let me. I don't know if that's an honest question or not. So, but let me try and explain it. Okay, there are a category of signals that I like to call a trigger, and what a trigger is that when you're looking for a certain type of trade that works out, like say we want to catch a really good runner, okay? Every time that this really good runner happens, you will see the thing, okay? Every time that happens, you will see the thing before it happens, but it doesn't happen every time you see the thing. So you have to filter. You have to say, okay, I've seen the thing. What are some other conditions that make the thing likely to actually turn into a really good trade, right? So the beep is the thing, but we need to play it in places that give us good probability of something actually happening from it. So, for instance, the one that Ace does that works so very well for him is he takes a trade right when the volume starts coming into the futures ahead of the open. So he's taking a short or whatever it is around, 9 o'clock Eastern time before everybody comes in, and he's already in, and then all of the other traders just kind of go along with the momentum and push it in his direction, right? And that's how it works, okay? Another situation could be that we see trapped traders in an area and a potential reversal, right? So that's where I'm saying, like, we have to filter. So if you took it every time that there was a beep, you probably wouldn't make money. But if you're discretionary, or we might be able to quantify some of these things, I don't know. There's going to be a lot more work and investigation. Then maybe you could get something that has a really high win rate. But just the beep on its own, you're going to get enough false signals with the way that I have it programmed right now, at least, that you probably would not be profitable. Unless maybe you were only taking a point. I don't know. So that's what I was getting at. Man, I can't believe that this just go down that fast. On one freaking contract too. Yeah, so can you imagine if the Federal Reserve comes in and cuts interest rates and like we can all refinance our houses? Like,
Winston's mom says I heard this is the only place in town to buy corn dogs because somehow there are no corn dogs left in the grocery stores. I wonder who bought all of the corn dogs?
No, I bought one box.
Winston's mom says good morning, SpeculatorSeth and all of your gang.
Thanks. I just think it's like when I go to Costco, I'm like, man, like there's just enough food just in this grocery store right now to feed like the city for a week or a month. I mean, like Costco is ridiculous, man.
Ace Trades says Utah. Ace Trades says
Utah.
Seth caused a corn dog run in Utah. Gary Rich says when trading is it chicken or egg first?
Like that.
Ace Trades says at Winston's mom good morning.
I think that it's one of those. It's a paradox in which
Air Cages says so a moving average crossover could be the thing, but you need to filter if it's a false signal.
Yes. Although I would say it's not necessarily like two moving averages crossing over
Winston's
each other.
Winston's mom says I like corn dogs, really especially with lemonade. That was my go-to at the mall. Remember malls?
Wait, we still have malls in Utah. What? Wow. Should I get out of that one or that was too far, right? What the hell? What the hell? That was insane. This is insane, and it's 720. Well, that's okay. I don't want to sit through the open volatility. I really don't. Hey, it actually is sitting at that price
says
a little
best
bit.
time ever to trade real and you're doing sim? Lol.
I know, right, Izzy? But you know what? Like
Winston's mom says good morning. Ace Trades, are you wearing a mask yet if you can find one?
Like I'm thinking back on it.
Says so good trade Seth Grat.
I'm still just not sure why I did so poorly before. Well, no, I do know.
Hey Jude 2109 says is the futures market open in the USA?
It is, sir.
Gary Rich says bing bong, Pavlovian dog signal salivate. Hit the trade hard short. Uzi Knesset says I wanna see you sweat and bounce out of your chair. Winston's mom says why is sexy robot voice speaking so fast?
I don't think it's I haven't changed anything. It does speak a little fast though. But it's always done that. It's always done that. What were you getting at? Oh yeah, like
Ace Trade says at Winston's mom so much worse flu out there to worry about. How many people died yesterday from hammers yesterday? Why are we hearing about some weak sauce flu?
A weak flu, I mean. I don't know. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, like I should be trading live. Like, yeah, but no. Like, I don't know, man. I think honestly, I do believe that I can make money in an area like this. I mean, hey, we've made over 100 and something such dollars today. But oh man, that first one came back so much. You should have taken the 50 on it. Anyways, I just don't think that I have a large enough account to be trading this sort of a thing. And I like way over traded it. So I also don't think that I am experienced enough with the E-mini to have been trading this. You know what I mean?
Bot says sexy robot voice skipped her Adderall meds this morning.
No, I definitely did. I definitely did not. I'm just responding to you guys. If you have a more focused conversation, then the responses that you get will be more focused.
Uzi Knesset says trend in ZB this morning seems to be every 5 minutes wait for a 4 to 6 tick pullback and just hit the fucking offer, close trade at end of bar, repeat lol. Winston's mom says lol, Gary Rich way to think outside of the sexy voice Roblox.
So you know what's one of the crazy things in the 10-year that I'm seeing as much as
Air
it's going
Cages
up,
says we're all gonna die.
the activity level is kind of like a constant like noise. There's no spike. So I'm never seeing a condition in which they would like really overextend and have to flip back around.
Uzi Knesset says joke's on you, I'm already dead. Winston's mom says Ace trades in special ops, they gave us shots for everything from anthrax to Zulu fever. I had something like 32 shots in one day. It's my son who goes to work that I would worry about. Gary Rich says watching Jim Cramer now. He gonna pop a vein. His brain stem is getting bent hard. Antenna Wild says Trump will push the Fed to lower interest rates to zero, even negative. A bear market in the selection cycle will tank his presidency. He has no choice.
ジャギ様から盗み取った北斗神拳とくと味合わせてやるわ
Oh my gosh, it's probably too loud.
この野郎ふざけやがって
That's Uzi right there. That's Uzi right there.
この野郎
Oh my gosh, that sounds so terrible.
どうしたやってみせろやったぜケンシロウの飛行をついたお前はもう死んでいる
Already dead, guys.
何秒後だんそうだな10秒後ってとこかな数えてやるぜ10 9 8
You have to understand the cultural joke.
6 5 4 3 2 1 0北斗神拳は2000年の一子相伝お前ごときが使え
Okay, you done? Okay, so there was a couple of good comments in here. Let's see these.
Antenna Wild says Trump will push the Fed to lower interest rates to zero, even negative. A bear market in this election cycle will tank his presidency. He has no choice.
How far can we move?
Winston's mom says I saw Jim Cramer talking about buying up pharma stocks 2 months ago with the first notices of this and I thought well that's probably smart. Uzi Knesset says God, y'all are too soft lol.
I understand. Hey, like, it's like, the way, like, think about it. When you're, well, don't think about it. Here's how I think about it. When I'm talking to you guys, you can't necessarily interrupt me or anything, like I'm in complete control. So it's almost like you're giving somebody the ability to think for you. So when you're hearing something that you really are not a fan of, it's really hard to watch, right? So you don't want to hear Japanese, then it's very much like, oh, no, I'm muting it out, right? Which is okay. But it was getting crazy, right? So I was like, let's just watch something because Uzi says he's already dead. Okay, so what was the point that I made?
Trent Johnson says, Seth, earlier you made the greatest point about the current trading condition.
Oh, yeah.
Trent Johnson says again the thing that I have been saying, this sell-off is algo-generated. Liquidity is almost zero but volumes are all-time highs. If humans were really selling like this, gold would be at 2,000.
Maybe. The thing is I'm not sure I can really explain why, but I'm not convinced that gold, in this particular situation, that gold is a good flight to safety trade. But yeah, so like gold is like a really good flight to safety when it's like you're hedging against central banks. I think in this particular case, it's like demand for everything is going to go down. So the only thing that is really going to be counter-cyclical to that is governments having to reduce rates. So a treasury becomes a much better flight to safety. And the gold was already up. Gold was already up, so it might just be that gold just went too far. I
Eric
don't know.
Cages says, why is gold going down? Gold should be safe haven. Winston's mom says 21 watching anime now and their wives think you're hard at work.
Thanks.
Everyone please hit like as an excuse to watch cartoons in the morning. Brandon C says gold is going down because those folks are getting margin called.
It could be.
Ace Trades says 2 minutes to shit show.
Right. 2 minutes.
Winston's mom says good idea Trent Johnson, let's all blame Algo Lover for the market.
Did you notice that day that he said, here's the upside thing, and they went up to it and they were never able to push past it, and then it turned back down? I do not know how he does that. But that number that he gives is gold. Doesn't mean that they're not going to go through it or anything, but it's an important number that you should mark when he comes in and gives us that. We're not the only one that he gives it to either. It might just be that he's on every Discord and that's why. I don't know. He goes and he gives that number to like almost every day trader.
Hey Jude 2109 says I am out. Gary Rich says oh Seth, we have so much to teach you.
So when I got out, where did I get out at? 76. Oh hey, it was good.
Ace Trade says still short from 2,890.
Oh, you got 890? Boo. So interesting thing that happens there is I'll get the beep, but then I'll get a click in the treasuries and the sounds cancel each other out. Man, oh my god. The micro and the E-mini are going different directions. They were for a second. Oh my gosh. Maybe the feeds became distinct, but that was weird as
Winston's
hell.
mom says some of the more conspiracy-oriented market shows say big money is pushing the market up to help Trump with his economy in this election period. Can this be done? Is it possible for just a few people? Gary Rich says Seth is Algo Lover on Twitter. Ace Trade says sounds cancel each other out. Seth's autobiography.
So big players can certainly move markets, and if you want a good example of that, look at when George Soros moved a whole freaking currency, and crashed the pound. Okay, but any kind of activity like that is going to you can't. I think that you can control it for a week, but I don't think that you can control it for a month or for a year. Like this idea that you could control the markets until the election, to affect the outcome of the election is, I think, farcical. If you were going to do something like that, you would do it in October. And I think that last time around, there was people trying to do that sort of a thing. Not the election, but the midterms. There was definitely some weird activity before the midterms in October. So it can happen, but it can only last for so long, and then the market has to go to where the value is. Wow, look at that comeback. That would have completely reversed on me. I'm guessing the Ace Trades take profit stop got hit there.
Winston's mom says what is the term for big players? Is that the official name for them? I know of the Japanese pension whales and I have heard of super PACs, but big players means what? Specifically, corporations? Ace Trades says yes, out. Masiak says this quick swing on S is insane.
Well, I think the official name for the big players is them. But it's going to be fund managers. So, you got pension fund managers, hedge fund managers, mutual fund managers, index fund managers. And then there is also another one that you would have to consider is, what do we call these? Foreign, what do they call the funds of large foreign countries? Like the Chinese government has a fund that they do stuff with. And yeah, could China come in and buy large amounts of certain assets to try and influence markets? Yes, they can. Yes, they can. But the whole thing about, like, is it going to affect Donald Trump is, like, I think it was kind of silly.
Ace Trade says at Winston's mom algos are dark pool, or big boys. Ace Trade says at Winston's mom we just call them the big boys, or like Seth says them, or quants or bots or institutional traders.
Yeah. So with the virus thing, I just find it so funny. The way that over the past day, the Democrats have decided that their message is that the administration is blowing the response to the coronavirus. And they're spreading all sorts of falsehoods to do it. Like the AP is calling them out on it. Like when the AP calls a liberal out as pants on fire, that means that it was a really bad lie. So they're saying that the Trump administration reduced funding for the CDC. No, absolute lie. There was proposals in budgets that would reduce funding for the CDC, and maybe they have a budget glut and they don't need it. I don't know, but it never happened. Nobody's taken money away from anything. Congress doesn't do jack squat. They're not passing a budget. So it was proposed, but never went into effect. There was, a thing like, oh, they got rid of the important people that were in charge of that. Well, he quit because they were reducing the size of the National Security Council. And it's like they're stretching so hard because nothing has happened yet. And they're trying to say that the response has been like terrible. And I'm just like, and then what's going to happen is like, okay, so if there's this problem with the CDC, right? Like for instance, the kits that that the CDC was distributing to test for this particular thing didn't work. Is that Donald Trump's fault? No. Right? But they're going to try and blame it on him. But it has been, as far as I can tell, because of the things that you see on Reddit and who's posting it and everything, that's the Democrat line. Now, if we go into a recession and we come back to the election and we're in a recession, does that mean that Donald Trump loses? I don't think so. Because I think that the majority of people understand that it's a disease and that that's not his fault. Right? But it could affect it. I think, though, that things like if the Democrat Party elects a socialist have a much bigger impact on who will win than the virus will. Yeah. So I wouldn't necessarily jump to this gut reaction conclusion that a recession because of coronavirus ends the Donald Trump presidency. I don't think that we can say that with certainty. Sovereign wealth funds, that's right.
Winston's mom says, okay, I will spend some time this afternoon and get a bit more familiar with how this works. The big boys, and now I picture that hamburger big boy that you drive up and order burgers from. Air Cages says juicy short. Ace Trade says at Winston's mom most folks at home in front of their computer trade 1 to 1,000 contracts. The big boys using huge computers, with rooms full of PhDs trade 10,000 to 1,000,000 contracts.
Yeah.
Ace Trade says I will agree, not all diseases spread because of Donald Trump.
Not all diseases.
Winston's mom says have you been onto the CDC website yet? It does have something about how to get tested and why we can't really get tested yet, and they talk about the kits and what should happen next. Gary Rich says the Fed will cut 2 times before the election.
Maybe. Like, here's the thing, is that if the Fed has to completely cut interest rates down to 0 or whatever it is, how do I say this? The fundamentals of the U.S. economy are not any different. You're just getting a economic disruption, which suggests.
Winston's mom says Ace Trades it sounds like we have come a long way from the men on the floor and all that frantic trading. Is anything done on the floor anymore?
Not much. Not much is done on the floor. Options. They still trade options in the pit, but other than that, it's almost all electronic. So if they cut it down, it's a supply disruption. So absent of anything else weird happening because of it. So for instance, I don't really have a good example, so I'm just going to give a farcical example. Coronavirus downturn causes a flood in delinquencies and payments to student loans and causes a student loan debt crisis, right? Then that would be different because some effects could weaken a part of the economy and that could change some fundamental things about how our economy is going right now, okay? But absent that, you have a very strong economy that was moving up quite well before, and you just had a temporary disruption, which is something that should pass, and you have crazy low interest rates. Yeah, this will market after the coronavirus impact has passed will come back so hard. It will come back so hard, and it's February. This could happen before the election. Can you imagine? If we get back into the recovery before the election, it's possible. So, I would keep those sorts of things in mind. If I could refinance my house at like a 0% interest rate and save $500 a month or something, I mean, those are the sorts of things that if some of the stuff that you guys are talking about actually happens, and I'm not so sure that they are, but if they do, those are the sorts of things that are going to happen. Those are really good for people if it's a short-term disruption, What headphones are those? Are they good? These are HDJ 2000s. It's a DJ headphone. They are very, very good, but they are... I'm going into way too much detail. He's like, yeah, so the simple question. Now I'm just going to give you like a dumb answer, right? They are specifically geared towards a particular application, which is DJing, which means that they block out outside noise really, really well. You can hear kicks and hats really, really well and sharpen them. And so the EQ curve is set up a certain way for that. And, they swivel and stuff like that. I believe that if you're trading and you want to get a nice headset and you really want good sound, consider trying a DJ headphone because they block the outside noise, and that's beneficial. But they're ridiculously expensive, and they're way too much for headphones that you should be spending just using your computer. The way that I got these headphones was when I was a trainee at Goldman Sachs, because I lived in Salt Lake, and the training was in New York. They give you a daily per diem to eat in New York because it's way more expensive to eat in New York. Here in Utah, I can go and get a steak for like $14 at some places if I go to a cheap place. But in New York, you could spend like $50 for a steak, right? But a sandwich at Subway is the same price in New York as it is in Utah. So I basically would just eat at, reasonably healthy fast food places every day and didn't even spend like a tenth of the per diem, and then saved it up and I bought these headphones with it. And that's how I got these headphones. Man.
Ace Trade says at Winston's mom, yeah, like Seth said, no big rooms full of people yelling and tearing up papers. It's just
really
quiet rooms with computers running. Some butthead in Amsterdam can literally wipe out your 401k. RJ Wheels says MSNBC is terrible with their coverage of Trump and Corey A. Irresponsible. Ace Trade says at Winston's mom, this is be yesterday's news in a month. Winston's mom says we have a friend who restores Mustangs and he also deals in computer equipment. His supply chain is disrupted. I understand factories are closing overseas, and here in Tennessee that means cars. Winston's mom says I lived in Florida, so we were all about hurricane prep, and in the military, we practice preparedness. It doesn't. Winston's mom says her to plan ahead and be prepared just in case. Or scare yourself to death and watch Matt Damon in Contagion. Gary Rich says, oh Seth, world GDP is slowing down. Our GDP is slowing down. Corona just accelerated the pace of this slowing growth. Ace Trade says at Winston's mom, remember when we were worried about the following: whales, ozone layer, AIDS, homeless, plastics? Air Cages says, what's the model name again?
HDJ
Winston's mom
2000.
says, oh the way, Glenn Miller played, songs that made the hit parade G, our old Edsel ran great, those were the days.
Oh, to the comment that there aren't like big rooms of there are, they're just not prop trading. Okay? Does that make sense? So like at Goldman Sachs, they have two floors of traders, two full floors of traders. And when you go there, it is, I mean, they pack people up. You get a cubicle that's about, big enough for 3 monitors on it. And then the next guy is right next to you, and they just have row and row of that. Like they use their space as efficiently as possible. So you're literally talking about like 1,000 people on a floor, literally, and it's noisy. But they're not prop trading. They're not sitting there and going, okay, the market, I think that this is a good place to short from. Let's try a short here and see if it goes down. They don't do that. Instead, what happens is clients will call in orders, and these clients are big, sophisticated clients that have a lot of money but don't necessarily have the knowledge and expertise to execute an order of that size. And so they go to Goldman Sachs and they put the order in with Goldman Sachs, and Goldman Sachs takes the trade, and then Goldman Sachs goes out into the market and executes the trade. And that's how they make money, is doing that, executing for people. That's what they've been expert at. But even with that, the business has been slowing down, and Goldman has had to diversify. So they were trying to diversify with like fixed income and these sorts of things, because the pure trading wasn't doing so well. But that didn't really work out. And so now they are trying to get into consumer banking. Right? But they still have a big trade desk. It gave me a short there, but it was so messy, so I ignored it. But it did end up working in the end. If wouldn't have held my stop for sure. Sure is getting crazy right now.
Gary Rich says Seth died to Dodd-Frank bill. The prop desk moved across the street and computerized algos.
Sure.
Isarejo says, why are the indices going nuts?
I really think that the bank needs
Isarejo says, what's making them so volatile?
There's no liquidity, Isarejo. And look at the E-mini
Uzi
right now.
Knesset says, seriously? Lol.
There's like 20 lots put on at each price level, but they're trading like 500 a clip. The liquidity is not there.
Lucas says, lol. Lucas says, morning.
Anyways, the prop desk moved across the street, but it's a different beast when it's not a part of the bank, right? Because before they could use that information.
Ace Trade says at Lucas morning. Gary Rich says, see the longs tried to float up and got ass pounded back down.
Yeah, well, I think there was going to be a natural pullback there anyways. I don't know if they're going to just careen down to the bottom or if they're going to push back up. It's so volatile at the moment that you really cannot see what it's going to do. Wow, well, somebody's pushing it hard. Look at the cumulative delta in the E-mini.
Lucas says, how you doing, Ace? You still riding this wild, crazy horse?
This is like way too. So like the ATR, I'm looking for like an ATR of like 2 to 4, and it's like 10 right now. I don't think that I could trade this with a live account. Not without a much larger account than what I've been using rather.
Ace Trade says at Lucas, yeah, made a few coins, but I didn't short it for 100 points yesterday. I wish.
Right. I mean, if we went and we got back to like when things were falling apart, and I took some shorts, if you recall, like last Friday, and if I had the margin to hold it overnight, I could have just held that and still be in it, and then I would close to the end of today, however high it gets or low it gets. But what a coulda. $29.10.
Ace Trade says it's not a
Maybe?
good spot for a guy who likes to trade with a 3-tick stop.
Yeah.
Lol.
Yeah, exactly. It's just wild. You know what though? So can I show you something, Ace? Now that I've got you. Now that I can see you're watching. So here's how I got everything set up, right? I have a little thing on here so that it beeps. But something I've noticed is I have these point of control bars on. Oh, I haven't sent it to you yet. Well, I'm going to send it to you here right after this. But this purple line is like what the point of control for that bar was. And you will notice that sometimes, so like here's a really
Gary
good example.
Rich says what's the margin for overnight on micro?
It's like 2,500, I think. If I had $3,000 in the bank, then maybe after taking a short on Monday, I could have held it. But let me pull my pen out. Okay, so do you see this area right here? It might be hard for you guys to see on the screen, but there's a point of control there and there. It's very far away from the moving averages, especially when we've only come up like that. So that is a kind of a spot that indicates that, okay, there was a trend reversal change. A bunch of people went long here, and they got trapped. They got trapped, and then this bar immediately came down and moved it, and they got washed out. So you can kind of play it the same way, and if you get a place where it's in line with the indicator, so like this one right here, you know, that kind of indicated that if it hadn't have been happening around 7:30, which I did think it did, right? Yeah. If it hadn't have been around 7:30, that might have been a good indication to go long. But I think what I want to do is measure the distance between my two lines, and then compare that to the average true range to determine if there's enough divergence to make the trade worth taking. Oh, you know what? I need to change a couple of things on here. I need to do that, get rid of that, and get rid of that so that. Okay. So they're below 2,900 again.
Ace Trade says hang on, phone. Masiak says question is that
You
if
probably
buyers
missed
from
all
last
that.
M15 closed short position whether buy new contract?
If buyers from last, what is last M15? But you know, just the question of, okay, if somebody went short, are they still short, or did they get out? This is again where if there was a trader ID attached to every order, then you could
Masiak says
perhaps see.
15-minute chart.
Oh, if they close their short position, whether they buy a new contract, I don't know. You know, it's hard to tell the tendencies, right? I think that the trick for me with the trade that I'm trying to take right now is going to be identifying an area in which more market participants are going to want to get involved, right? So right now, when I see it, what I see is a lot of people getting involved all over the place. So do I know where I can take a spot where there's a little bit of momentum moving my way, and that momentum is going to cause a ton more people to come into the market and perhaps say short or whatever the deal is? And at the moment, I don't think that I have a setup like that. But that's why like a timed trade is such a great idea. Is if you're coming in before everybody else is trading, and you're just one of the first people in, and then you assume that everybody else that comes in just goes along with the same trend, then that's a good trade, right? Or you have trap traders like I was trying to show you there. I mean, they did make a decent push down here, but they're going back towards the hourly open. So there could be a bounce here.
Boris T says, hi, what is the software for your DOM?
I use Jigsaw Day Trader. So if you find there's a video on my channel, which is what is the best day trading software platform, where I talk about why I use Jigsaw, what I like about it. And there's also an affiliate link in there. So if you use the affiliate link, it helps the channel out and I appreciate it. But the kind of more details about why I like Jigsaw in there. Other than that, it looks great. Doesn't it look great? I think that it just looks so cool. Like you're you know that you're looking at serious data here when you look at this screen. There is a
Winston's mom says, would you like me to go get the video and link it in the chat? SpeculatorSeth?
Well, it probably won't let you. I can go get it. I can do it. It's pretty easy to get. Because when you come over to my channel here, what is the best futures trading software platform? I think it's actually one of my most popular videos.
Gary Rich says we took out 25,000 even YM. Here we go for more downside.
Looks like we got some.
SpeculatorSeth says, ask our money machine says where you see short-term bottom on SPX.
I don't know, man.
Ask our money machine says I think it's buy here. Uzi Knesset says YM going for 24K.
So they're going to go for the low again? Man, that happens so fast. AskR, because we're in a flash crash environment, I don't think that I can give a price very accurately. If it was, normal market action, I might have a couple of downside targets at which I'd say, okay, well, here's the next spot and the next spot. And at each one of those spots, we're less likely to go through. In a flash crash, the liquidity is not there. Who knows if people are ever going to come in.
Ask our money machine says, okay, thanks.
You know what I mean? Here's where it's like, I mean, you notice I haven't tried taking any trades here now that we've been in the open. It's just too fast. And I'm trying to practice. I know that I'm taking sim orders today and I could play in it, but I really want to practice here. And one of the things is knowing when it's too volatile to take it and just staying out. So, okay, so now that we got that, I got to send this email.
Gary Rich says VIX at 45, yes, yes. Sergio Ortega says insane. Uzi Knesset says this shit gonna blow up my computer.
Could. I people were complaining about platform issues, or at least I saw some people saying there was some platform issues. So like somebody is saying, I heard a lot of reports of people talking about phantom positions and things like that, where like you click on it and you can see that the position on your DOM or whatever it is, but you're not actually in a position. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's that happens because you blew your account, right? That's what happens when you blow your account. Is you know, the software doesn't know how to handle that it's not getting filled,
Lucas
so it
says
puts
we
a
are back at
position in
October
even
levels.
though the broker didn't actually fill it. Anyways, but I haven't had any problems. My machine has been keeping up with all this just fine.
Gary Rich says every penny on VIX equals $10.
It's getting pretty crazy. Okay, where's my...
Live Action says every 1 minute bar on S equals 10 points. Gary Rich says here we go YM coming up 1000 K points down.
Oh, I have a line drawn on here? Where's that line come from?
Harlequin says lol I have never seen 7 down days in the S in a row so far. Only remember 6 days last year.
That line doesn't mean squat. That line doesn't
Gary
mean
Rich says I might have to buy my border collie a car.
You might have to buy your border collie a car? Gary, I'm happy that you're doing well. Potential turn there. Let's see.
Gary Rich says I'll buy her a Tesla auto driving for the dog.
That would be great.
Uzi Knesset says there's no turn lol.
No, they could turn up. I'm not saying that I think they're going to, but there's a certain chance that if they're able to push up here. I don't think that they have enough volume low enough. Like if they had built the volume down at like 67.
Uzi Knesset says we're living on a prayer now haha.
But they were like 5 points higher. So I don't know if that's enough, but if they're able to push a little bit higher, you might see an attempt at a long. So let's see what they do. I mean, the thing is,
Gary Rich says I remember 7+ days in a row it was 08.
Yeah. No, in 09 when at the very bottom there was a couple of days in a row.
Harlequin says the only thing I am wondering right now, why is gold in sync with the S and making new lows lol?
Right. Yeah, we definitely saw days like that towards the lows, like
Harlequin
when
says
S&P
I
was at
expected the
666. But the degree of moves were not even close to this, right? I don't think I've ever seen it where you have huge down days more than 2 or 3 days in a row. So to get 6 days in a row is like crazy. Just absolutely crazy. See, there was their attempt to try and make it up there, and I don't think that they did it.
Lucas says my timing for start learning S.
Well, this would certainly be something interesting to sim trade, but now the other interesting thing you guys were talking about gold. With the E-mini pushing new lows like that, how come the treasuries
Harlequin
aren't at
says
their
and
highs?
the volume keeps increasing. 1.5 million during the overnight. Highest I have ever seen so far.
It's a flash crash. I don't know if they can hold a spot. Man, it's so wild. Jeez.
Gary Rich says I was behind the screen in the GFC.
can't take a trade in here. This is just so wild. 59.
Masiak says I have to get break and rest for a couple minute from market.
Look at that offer.
Gary
They
Rich
went up
says
and
we hit
filled
it
him.
boys YM 1K down.
Wow. Well, that one was so strong down that maybe we can get a little bit of a pullback here, but it just looks like, yeah, I just have to go with what I was
Harlequin
saying
says I
earlier.
am taking a break from S and going to slower markets gold and crude oil lol. Never thought I would say that sentence.
I think that as long as we're in a flash crash conditions, we can just move down. Like, what else is there to say? It's a little disheartening, I guess. I think that somebody should do something. I think that the exchanges and the federal regulators and the president should all get together and say, okay, maybe we should fix this.
Harlequin says man just look at gold. They are killing it with the equities together.
Yeah. Well, so let me go back to gold. Okay. Why is gold a flight to safety? Because people speculate that it is. There's nothing inherent about it that makes it useful in a recession. It's not, like treasuries are designed to be countercyclical. Gold is not. Gold only moves up because people think that it is. And if somebody decides that they're just going to pull all of their money out of all markets, then gold's not going to move up. It's shiny.
Harlequin says it's shiny. Case closed.
I think that that's what's happening is that people are just pulling all risk off of the table. And so that includes instruments that are speculative on the short side, like gold. Or like, think of it this way. Where do you think the demand for gold comes from? Like, if we're going to look at the parts of the world and where people are buying gold, where do you think that demand comes from? I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to this because I don't really know the answer. But I have a guess. What would your guess be? Where most of the gold buying demand comes from?
Harlequin says China.
Ding, 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 ding. And if everybody in China is about to get fucked over and lose
Winston's
money,
mom says jewelry.
they're all going to lose money. Then why should gold move up? Because the Chinese won't be able to buy as much gold. So there's the theory.
Masiak says nice lesson for trader. Are wathing S now.
Yeah, I think today's title will be "You've Never Seen Order Flow Like This." It just keeps going and going and going. It's so crazy.
Harlequin says, but why did they pump it like last week and the week before and made new highs for the year?
Well, I think that people were
Winston's
speculating.
mom says I am now thinking I would like a nice new gold necklace.
Like when gold moves up, it's not because the economy doing poorly creates more business need for gold to no. It goes up because people speculate.
Gary Rich says hold on Seth, pull the horse back. Gold is an inflationary hedge long term for all the money printing and budget blowups.
Why? Why is it? Why is it a hedge? That's only a hedge because of speculation. You remove speculation, if you remove speculative interest in gold, none of that happens. And if the speculators, aka the Chinese, are out of the market, it's not going to move up. let me back up and try and explain this a different way. Where's my pen? Let's see if I can find a clean spot to draw. We can do it down here. We'll do it down here. Minimize that Vista chart. Oh, move Bitcoin. Oh, I forgot that I even had this. Which one is that? I would like that on the E-mini. Oh, no, not that E-mini. This E-mini. Cool. So if we have, this is a market. Okay. And the question is, who participates in this market? Oh, Ace says you were explaining the point of control. So Ace, I sent you an email. Point of control is the price within that bar that the most volume traded at. And I have found that if you get a point of control really far away, like at the low of a bar and really far away from the moving average, that it increases the chances of your trade working, is my theory. So I gave that to you so that you can check it out. And then also a moving average that changes color based on whether it's moving up or down, so that you can tell better that your moving average is moving up. Treasury and gold remain an attractive inflation hedge. Okay, so here's a market. This is the gold market. This is gold. That's why we're drawing it with the gold pen. Okay, so here's this thing. Who do you have in there? You have commercials and speculators. Okay, so one participant in here is going to be miners, right? Right? People that mine gold out of the ground and sell it. So these are sellers. They're one of the participants, but they're responsible for a certain amount of market activity, right? And then here, you have another group of people which are like, well, you could call them commercials, but I'm going to call them material industrial. Or no, let's call them manufacturing. Okay, these are people that actually use gold, right? They actually use it to produce things. So for their business to continue working, they have to buy a certain amount of gold out there. Okay, so these guys are people that have to participate in the gold market to stay in business, right? What's the rest of this? Speculation. So why does gold act as a flight to safety? Is it because when the economy goes down that miners, the way that miners operate changes, or the way the manufacturing operates changes? It does not. It does not. It straight up doesn't. None of that changes. Okay? So when gold goes up as a flight to safety, why does it act as a flight to safety? This right here. Speculation, we call it hedging too, okay? Hedging. So, what would happen if you come into this market and you kill all of these guys? Is price going to move up? No, it is not. And that is why gold is not moving up, in my opinion. In my opinion, that is why gold is not moving up. And you can say I'm wrong, but gold's not moving up, guys. Now, what does this market look like in treasuries? What does this look like in treasuries? Huh? Well, one of them is the Fed. One of them is foreigns, sovereign funds, we'll call them. Sovereign funds. Okay. One of them is going to be pensions. Okay. There's all of these guys here, right? Okay. And then what we could make another line here. What's another line that we have? Hedging. Well, not hedging. The banks, we'll say. Okay. Okay. And then this teeny tiny little sliver up here. This teeny tiny sliver up here is SpeculatorSeth right here. Okay. So treasuries, one. Speculation is a much smaller portion of the market, relatively speaking, in the treasuries. Your opinion of his opinion sucks. So first of all, the speculation is a very small percentage of the overall stuff out there. These people down here, the Fed, sovereign funds, pension funds, banks, they have to have treasuries. They're literally required by law to do business to own a certain amount of treasuries to hedge their activities. They have to own them. They have to. Okay? So, when a treasury moves, why does the price move up? Because the Fed changes it. The Fed comes in and changes the interest rate and changes the value of the treasury. And so the treasuries become more valuable as a flight to safety. And then because people know that it's going to be up, then of course you can get all of these extra speculators come in, right? So in this time period, okay, if we came back and we killed these guys, what would happen? Nothing really, because they're such a small part of it. It can still move up. And it will still move price-wise based on what the market expects the Federal Reserve to do. And that is why treasuries are the best flight to safety asset, because the way that they function, they're literally designed to increase in value when everything else is decreasing in value. And the only way that changes is if the government blows up, right? So, unless you think that the US government is about to collapse, the treasuries is the best flight to safety asset. And we're seeing that right now. Treasuries are moving up. Gold is not. Bitcoin is not. What else is there? I don't know what else there is. I can't think of any other flight to safety spots. By the way, the treasuries are falling quite a bit here. Even though the E-mini just took a complete dive down to 28.60. And they're coming back to the open again.
Gary Rich says thank you, Seth, for that demonstration. I just lost IQ points.
So here's what I think. I think that you should come up with a real argument. That's not an argument. You can do it in Discord. I'm sure he'll come up with something. But I say, why should gold move up other than that people think it should? It only moves up because of speculation. And guess what? The speculators are just taking all of the money out. They're not parking it anywhere. If the Fed moved up to speculators and then back down funds and then dropped highs, what would that look like on your chart? What? Oh, I don't understand that all though. That was so confusing. To bovine funds? What? Okay, wait, let's turn this back on.
Jonathan says y'all are funny. Gary Rich
Thanks.
says Seth stop ass clowning. People actual listen to you and take your advice.
What are you saying
Jonathan
that they
says
shouldn't
glad
buy
some people are
treasuries?
losing their shit. Winston's mom says oh, Ace we almost got there. Jonathan says so dumb lol. Harlequin says you asking what's also going up? Pretty sure the VIX is going alright lol.
That's a good point, Harlequin. Oh, thank you so much for that. You're right. You can just buy volatility. Are people doing that though? Well, I mean, obviously the VIX is up, but are we seeing like
Jonathan says
an
errant
unusually,
asterisk.
you know? Like the thing that's really bizarre through all of this is like just here just now. Like the treasuries are back 8 points, something like that. E-mini was still at its lows. But that could just mean that there's that many day traders in the market, and so you're getting big swings, and maybe that's why. But it kind of seems to me, just from looking at all of the different markets, including
Ace Trade says at Winston's
currencies.
mom so close. Seth, please draw what happens when a sub shoots a missile.
No thanks. We don't want YouTube to demonetize our videos or give us strikes or anything, okay? Let's not do that.
Ace Trade says does anyone know what the Eiffel Tower looks like? Seth, can you draw that?
I could draw that. Sure. There you go. The Eiffel Tower. He's got this nice arch here, and it kind of goes up like this.
Winston's mom says 25 watching now. Please hit like if you want Speculator Seth to draw a submarine launching its torpedo.
And then there's a little observation deck sort of spot. Huh? That's pretty good.
Ace Trade says fine, I need 2 eggs sunny side up cooking. Draw that. Winston's mom says that's pretty good. Do you all play Pictionary on game night? Ace Trade says that is actually nice. Harlequin says stop it now. It is a war crime against the French people. Winston's mom says with a side order of bacon, please.
There's an egg.
Gary Rich says Seth please take that pen and poke both eyes out.
Gary's so mad. I guess Gary has a long gold position and he's just upset that it's not going anywhere. There's some eggs. Yeah, I should have done that. I should have drawn that. I should have colored this in before I drew the egg whites.
Ace Trade says Gary is so mad. Bro, what is wrong?
He just doesn't like. He wants people to buy gold, I think. I think he wants people to buy
RJ
gold.
Wheel says that looks like Lady Gaga in fishnets.
Okay, I just got a short signal. But I don't think that it came out far enough, so I'm not going to take it. And it's still the ATR is still too high, so.
Ace Trade says colors, you can do colors, wow. We need to expand.
I need to expand. Should I just have
Winston's
a drawing
mom says
string?
once upon a time, an Etch-a-Sketch was a really cool device to play with. Seems prehistoric now, and does anyone know what an Etch-a-Sketch is?
Oh, you know what? I totally forgot that I can do that. I can make different sizes. Okay. Yellow.
Winston's mom says elevator stopping now on floor 3.
Yeah. There you go. There's a side of bacon. I don't think that looks like bacon, but okay. I don't know what it looks like, but I don't like it. Oh, man. Yeah, so did I
Harlequin
made
says,
that
can you draw the
sound.
free and independent city of Hong Kong?
No, I don't know what the free and independent city of Hong Kong looks like. It looks like a face gazing lopsidedly. Oh, why is the robot slow to read that? I think that you guys have just talked too much today. I need to restart this. There we go. Still below 2,900. See, it gave me a short. They're not going for it yet. Oh, wait, there's some behavior. I mean, see, they're in that spot. It wouldn't matter if I was long or short. I would have gotten stopped out.
Harlequin says robot got coronavirus. Winston's mom says Ace trades, I guess there is just sand inside, but now I know that later I will have to check it out. There are all kinds of YouTube videos that take things apart.
And an Etch-a-Sketch? No, it's like, oh, Etch-a-Sketches are weird. The original Etch-a-Sketches had some toxic stuff in them, right? Now it's just graphite. I don't know. I forget. There was a Reddit thread about it, but I forget what they said.
Ace Trades says at Winston's mom it's super fine silver sand. You will get grounded for a week for getting it in the carpet. Ace Trades says at Winston's mom, trust me. Winston's mom says if you are traveling, it's not a bad idea to wear a mask. If for no reason other than a face mask will remind you to stop touching your face.
Supposedly they don't really protect you from getting it, but they do protect you from transmitting it. And that's the main reason for the mask. So it is a good thing for everybody in the population to have a mask. I'm pretty sure, you know what we should invest in, guys? We should invest in designer face masks. We got some designer face. Maybe we can just make them. We come up with a cool thing because I'm pretty sure. I mean, there looks like there's going to be a breakout in California, and I bet you that all of those Californians would love to have designer masks. That's exactly the sort of thing they would pay for. Okay, back to the open.
Ace Trade says at Winston's mom, yeah, the virus is way too small to have your run-of-the-mill mask work. It's like those folks who wear them thinking it will help with pollution. Not.
Ugh. Well, certain kinds can help from the pollution, but
Winston's
none of the
mom
ones that
says
I've seen
Ace
people
Trades,
in Utah
I loved
wearing
Play-Doh
do.
when I was a child, and so when the children were old enough, I bought a whole table full of Play-Doh, and sure enough it got ground into the carpet.
This setup right here is a little sketchy.
Andre Santos says since they are made in China they will come with the virus out of the box.
No. The administration is working with manufacturers to create
RJ
more
Wheel
masks.
says I cut my girlfriend's Victoria's Secret bra in half and presto. 2 trendy masks.
Oh, guys, you're gonna be kidding me. Well, see, I'm seeing I was seeing like a really strong long, even though
Andre Santos says lol.
we got
Ace
like
Trade
a
says
short
at RJ
and a
Wheel points
long.
for creativity. Gary
It's-
Rich says Gary not mad. When ass clowns speak about things which steer people wrong, it's bad.
I'm not
Winston's
seeing
mom
volume
says
get
lol,
caught, but
RJ Wheel, and I am sure you look quite lovely in pink.
I don't see volume getting caught out, but I think that the volatility that we saw there was a little unusual for this spot, and that there's a possibility that somebody is just going to come and blow it all out again. So I'm really suspicious about holding this spot at all.
Ace Trade says remember when China
Yes.
sent the toys with lead and the sheetrock with
Yes.
mold?
Do you remember that? Well, they're going to produce them in the United States. So what we need to do, though, is we purchase the masks and then we do colorful things to them. Or it might not even be that. It could just be, maybe we could, just do some crafts with the masks and get popular on YouTube from doing that. I might do that. Okay, wait, where's my wife? Okay.
Ace Trade says my immune system would crush any weak sauce from China.
Ding. That one's long.
Ace Trade says also, isn't it baby time about now? Where is the baby?
Yeah, the baby's been doing okay. You're right, though. We probably should pick him up. Well, so we should post our cryptocurrency notes so that I don't have to worry about that. But because pretty soon, Mom's going to be taking
Winston's
the kids.
mom says honestly, if you did something like that, Countess in Singapore would probably have a market connection and you could clean up in profits. Ace Trade says I need to see the baby. Holding breath till I see the baby.
Okay, hold on. He might just be sleeping and happy. We'll see. He does not like light.
Winston's mom says she said she could not find rubbing alcohol anywhere.
So I was trying to take a picture so that I could see his eyes, and he didn't like the light. So if I bring him over here, he might not appreciate that.
Ace Trade says don't care. That kid has nothing to do all dang day.
No, he does. He does. He has to eat food. It's a hard work. Eating that much boob, dude. Sucking on a tit all day is hard work. Cut a kid a break.
Ace Trade says and poop.
And poop, yeah. And apparently getting your diaper changed is really stressful too. According to him. Why? The Google front page is a picture of Burning
Winston's
Man,
mom
really?
says Asher needs a really cool pair of
fun.
sunglasses. I think
The
aviators
chrome.
would be awesome.
Oh. it changed.
RJ Wheels says ILL second that.
He needs a cool pair of sunglasses? No, man. His eyes are amazing. I'm wondering if that's what my eyes looked like when I was a baby. Because it is like deep, dark blue. It's like navy blue.
RJ Wheels says she stuttered. ILL. Ace Trade says you better be all over changing those diapers. That is your kid, mom is just an assist. Every dirty diaper is yours to change.
So changing diapers with him has been like a group effort. Like one person is doing the wiping and the other person is trying to calm him down. Because as soon as you pull the pants off, he's like freaks out. I guess he just doesn't like being cold, but he does not like it.
Ace Trade says you have to get fast and try to do it under 4 wipes.
No, I think I use more than 4 wipes. Ah! You're bringing me a child soon? Oh. She's giving me the thing. She's giving me the monitor, suggesting that I don't want to wake him up.
Ace Trade says and those onesies that have poop on them? Just throw them away. Winston's mom says it's the automatic sprinkler system on boys that tends to get in the way.
Okay. So there's my note. I don't have a very expansive note. Okay.
Ace Trade says agreed. Cold air seems to trigger them. Prepare to get peed on.
Right. You know what else is cool? Doesn't matter that everything's falling apart because I got into the Diabolical beta and I get to play that today. So, hey.
Andre Santos says smashing the like button for Lambo Karma points winking face.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look at it. can't view it from here. I have to look at it on my phone. There's been something going on with my machine where I don't know if it's Chrome or what, but it's like not saving cookies and like auto logins on nothing works. It's really annoying. I think that I have a Windows
Winston's
bug.
mom says excellent karma Andre Santos thank you, lol.
Okay, I don't see anything. Okay, so I'll be right back.
Ace Trade says at Ander A. Santos I hope you make enough money to buy the world's worst depreciation item. Ace Trade says freaky Yoda baby. Watch it move.
So
Winston's mom
I'm
says
gonna
Ace
try and be
Trades did
really
you ever have a
quiet.
sleepover and dip someone's hand in warm water while they were sleeping or is that a girl camp kind of thing to do? Andre Santos says oh the baby.
So I'm gonna be just quiet, so you guys can just go off here and chat, and I'll just sit here with them and try and be quiet.
Ace Trades says yes to baby. Winston's mom says hello, baby Asher you are so beautiful.
That E-mini sure is battling it out.
Winston's mom says someone sing to the baby, type a song, rock-a-bye baby Asher in the treetop.
Stay asleep, baby boy. You gotta make it 5 minutes, and then mom will come and you can suck on her tit. He was kind of making a concerned face, and then I said that, and he was happy.
Winston's mom says I remember the day we left the hospital with our son and we were standing in the parking lot looking around like, are they really going to send us home alone with a baby?
It kind of made me nervous because they would, come in and do tests on him like every few hours, and then I'm like, he's not being tested anymore. What if something's wrong now?
Andre Santos says yeah the first should come with instructions.
They did give me training.
Andre Santos says the second is the best.
Hmm.
Andre Santos says no worries. Masiak says I think we'll be rebound on S.
They're holding it a lot better than they have the other days, aren't they?
Winston's mom says the second is easier, but my son was a difficult baby and easy child. My daughter was the opposite. Boys are easier to entertain and they don't tattle on each other when they play. Andre Santos says, do you trade the Russell?
There's mom.
Winston's mom says, SpeculatorSeth, are your parents nearby and what do they think of their new grandchild?
Mm-hmm. My mom comes over to hold him almost every day.
Ace Trade says that is a sweet baby. Do they have them at Ace Rents?
You can come over.
Christoph Chesney says, hi, do you consider sell SP 500 on the end today? Looking for gap down on Sunday nights.
I'm really not a huge fan of holding risk over the weekend. He's like, why did you do that?
Ace Trade says, yes, I am sure being short over the weekend.
Wish you'd get a better view.
Ace Trade says, what could possibly go wrong? Winston's mom says, wow, sexy robot voice handled Christoph Chesney's name quite well. I am impressed, sexy robot voice. Thank you, says myself, the sexy robot voice back at you. Masiak says, guys, for now I have only profitable entrance today. Ace Trade says, I think Christoph Chesney is what happens to your car when they make it into a cube. Harlequin says, lol, gold still getting fucked. Now 80 points down, lol. Harlequin says, VPOC on the low of the day. Winston's mom says, SpeculatorSeth is going to rock himself to sleep in a few minutes.
I think today's title should be about gold. we just ran out of requests.
Ace Trade says, does that baby like being rocked? Swaddled?
All I gotta do is rock him and he'll fall back asleep pretty easily. He can see the E-mini going down and he feels your pain. Wow. I always wonder, like, okay, if he comes back and watches videos later, probably not when he's 20, but maybe when he's like 8, I'm sure they'd be interested in that sort of a thing. Which ones will he watch? Not quite. I hope I go in my sleep like Grandpa, not screaming like the 3 passengers in his car. Oh. Well, that one was a good one. Here's Mom. Okay. He looks like he is long. Is he tall for a baby in length? How do you ask about tall in a baby? I don't know. He was big though. He's like 8 pounds. He came out 8 pounds. So, yeah. Okay, so let's change the name of the... No, not yet. Let's change the name of this stream. Why? Or maybe I should say, well... Or maybe I think I can do a better title. Let's like really try and game this out. Gold is down. Wow. Gold is down. SpeculatorSeth explains his theory on why. Is this action even tradable? I don't think so. Well, I mean, you have a big stop, but look at the chart. Oops, let's pull this up. Look at the chart. For the last hour, we've been swinging wildly. 20 points, basically, 30 points. So unless you have a 30-point stop, doesn't seem tradable to me. I'm shooting some trades on Sim, but I have to have 5-point stops and like 6-point target. Yeah. Well, there was, I mean, the last signal that I got, like the last ding, you could see that they did take off on it. So, I don't know. Unfortunately, the ding is only for me. It's too slow for you guys to really take advantage of. Treasury is still kind of like off their highs, which I guess is good. Anyways, I think that's a good title. Hope you guys got a good view of the baby. I was trying to get him like so you could really see his face, but maybe one of these days we just like zoom the lens in and hold him. One of these days, maybe if he's awake. But today he was pretty sleepy. I can pick the right overall direction and still be stopped out. Oh yeah. But at that point what is the right overall direction, right? Like I'd have to move like 50, 100 points to really say that we caught like a real move in this action, at least. Hopefully it's better next week. Too rapid bear on open. I don't know. Anyways, I better get going. We did here's our trades. So I caught this one. And then here when I was trying to catch this one, I got stopped out. So that one could have been a lot better. But I still caught a good trade off of it and came out profitable. So I think I was lucky. Because like I said, I don't know. So here's another thing that I would say for this kind of action. I think that it's worth taking some swings because you can swing it and get stopped out, and if even one of them runs, 1 out of 5 of them runs, you can make money, right? But I would not try too many times, right? Like I would wait for you to spot 1 or 2 times, and if you catch it, then all right. And if you don't, only take a, hopefully you're not taking like a huge loss on it, and then just be done. Because the mistake that I made on Tuesday was I was doing well and I just kept trading it, and the commissions in the end really killed me trading that. So yeah, hopefully next week will not be so bad. I'm sure the selling will continue though. All right, I'll see you guys next week then. I'm going to play a lot of Quake Diabolical this weekend. I said maybe I would stream it. Maybe I will stream it. I might. So if I stream it, it'll be on Twitch though. So you can go check out the SpeculatorSeth channel on Twitch. Or maybe I'll post it in Discord if I do that. You say I told you he has a rebound? I'd say we need to get above 2930 to say it's a rebound. Quake? Well, so there's Quake 3 Arena, and there's a new game that's in beta this weekend called Diabolical that is based on Quake. So we'll be playing that. I'm so excited. I want to stay home from work, but they're not putting it up until this afternoon anyway, so. But I'm so excited just to play a good game again. You probably don't care about it. I'm so excited. Okay, I'll see you guys later. And in the meantime, stay profitable, friends. Be careful out there, because it's really scary.